Yeah. No, hey, I love treat the partner like a customer.
Mhm.
And you're right. You've got to earn the right to be invited into their opportunities.
Absolutely.
I think you earn that right by being a hustler yourself, right? And they see it.
Absolutely.
They see that you win for them. Well, hi, everybody. It's Dave Elsner, the tech sales coach, with another sales skills workshop. And with me today is David Gerrity. David works for Comport Consulting, VAR in the, what is it, upper Midwest and
Yep. And
Northeast.
East.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. And I think what drew me to David the most was the company culture that I see on LinkedIn. It's pretty phenomenal. It's not just company culture, it's partner culture, it's internal, it's customer culture. And I think what you're building, David, is something very special. And so, brief introduction.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. It's really looking forward to the conversation. Again, David Gerrity with Comport, VP of Sales. I wear a couple hats. I run the Central Territory as well as our Comport Secure business from a sales perspective. And the Comport Secure, you mentioned, we're a VAR or a solution provider, focused in the data center, server storage, networking, cloud. We also are a service provider where we do managed services and cloud services for customers as well.
Right on. How long you been in sales, David?
So, I started my career as a consultant, coming out in Y2K. And after about 2 or 3 years as being a consultant, my manager said, "You're comfortable talking to people in different ways. We're going to give you a couple of accounts." And gave me a couple of accounts to call on, and then shifted into sales and then sales leadership, overall leadership, etc. So I guess it would be right around 2000. So, gosh, 20 plus years.
Y2K, what a bust that was.
Yeah, no shit.
I actually made a lot of money during that time because, I was selling phone systems, and so we had to sell the customer to update their phone system before Y2K hit, and so it was actually a very good year for me. From what
I had one of my daughters was born on 12/29/99. So I remember I was in the hospital after she was born watching New Year's over the Sydney Harbor and noticed that planes were not falling out of the sky. So I figured we were going to be okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this great culture. When I was in sales leadership at a VAR, we really focused on the fact that our people make the difference. That it wasn't the product, it wasn't the manufacturer, it was our people. And that built a great culture because we honored them first. What is Comport doing to build internal culture?
When you told me you wanted to talk about culture, I have to admit it was a bit of a cringe moment for me because culture to me is actually a little bit of a trigger word. Because I've been around organizations that talk so much about culture, it's just lip service. So, when you say, what can a company do? What does Comport do to really champion this culture? To a certain extent, the answer is get the frick out of the way, because culture is people, and culture is creating an environment where people can, have fun, be themselves, be successful, and let that come through in what they do, what they post on LinkedIn, how they interact at events, how they interact with their customers. So I think to have a great culture, and again, I cringe a little when I say culture, but to have that, the key is to hire the right people and to get out of their way and do as little as possible to squash that natural sense that they have to grow and flourish.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also noticed in interacting with some of your people a couple years back now that, everybody takes responsibility. They don't say, that's not my job, go talk to this person. they get that person involved and remain a part of the team. And so, and I,
You
I
know,
think,
I have to say, I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
You know, no company's perfect. We have people that do that within Comport, and guess what? They get they it's not like they get fired or anything like that, but people build around them. They find ways to just not work with those people, and as a result, their career kind of suffers a little
yeah, yeah, well said. Very,
bit.
very vulnerable statement. You're right. Everybody is not perfect.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the other thing that I see is the partner culture. You guys do a lot of great events with your partners, and I think, in creating an ecosystem like that, your partners have got to be your partners. Like,
Yes.
and I see that as well. Like, is there some formality around partner culture
It
or
again, similar to what I said before about the internal culture. The difference is, I think, the mindset. You know, Jack Margosian is our founder, founded 40 years ago on the I mean, partnership is 100% in our DNA. And one thing that he insists on is that we treat our partners like customers. They are, to a certain extent, our most important customers. So we always want to make sure that we are being trustworthy with our partners, that we're engaging our partners, that we're being as transparent or sometimes translucent as possible in our business. But that we're communicating and really, like I said, treating those partners like customers, because again, on the VAR solution provider side of our business, we are an extension of their teams. I also think that one thing that I tell the reps that I work with is, we in the solution provider space, we in the VAR space, sometimes think that OEM reps just have this plethora of opportunities that they can just sit here and say, I'm going to bring partner A into this deal, partner B into that deal, partner C into that deal, partner D into that deal, and I'm just going to do this whole round robin thing. That's not life for most OEM reps. If they get one or two deals a quarter that they have a little bit of ability to influence the partner, that's a lot. So I think it's important that we in the VAR community have a proper perspective on our OEM rep friends. Because again, people think, sit back and think, oh, why isn't the rep from OEM X bringing me into more deals? Guess what? You're in the partner side. That's your job. Your job is to go find deals and bring them in, and they'll help support and all that kind of stuff. So I think having the proper expectation is another aspect of making sure that you have a good relationship.
Yeah. No, hey, I love treat the partner like a customer.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. You've got to earn the right to be invited into their opportunities.
Absolutely.
I think you earn that right by being a hustler yourself, right? And they see
Absolutely.
it. They see that you win for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, awesome. All right. So I think the third aspect is going to be customer culture. And I also see you guys doing a lot with your cut. By the way, Jack on LinkedIn is phenomenal. I love I love Jack's posts because it's just him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that is where it starts. But anyways, back to customer culture.
Yeah. No, I think it goes back to all the other aspects. Like most of our customers have been customers of our team for years, if not decades. And I choose those words very carefully, because not necessarily customers of Comport, right? We have many customers who have followed sales reps, solution architects, engineers throughout different spots of their careers. So that's part of why you see such a deep customer relationship culture, because I might have a sales rep on the team who's been here for 2 years, but he's been working with that same customer for 20. And a big part of that is building the relationship. And I'll tell you, going back to a lot of the work that you do in the social selling, I think one of the things that's kind of cool is even when you have these established gray hair and no hair reps, and get them to start exposing, be a little bit more vulnerable in their LinkedIn posts and their social presence. One thing that's kind of fun is when you can post something that is that quasi-professional personal, and all of a sudden someone who you've known for 20 years says, I didn't know your daughter was a professional ballerina. That's so cool. I didn't know your son played college basketball. I didn't know you were a pole vaulter. And it deepens those relationships to another level. And it's a way to expose some of your network to things that you might feel a little awkward bringing up in a one-on-one conversation. But anytime you can just kind of be a little bit more professionally vulnerable in some of that stuff, it deepens those relationships, deepens those customer relationships to create more customer culture, deepens those partner relationships to create more partner culture.
Oh, yeah. I love what you said about engineers and that customers follow them.
Oh, yeah.
But your engineers have to have the confidence in Comport that they're not going to burn their relationship with their customer.
Oh, absolutely. There have been many times where I have had to work with, mostly it's on the sales side, but solution architects. And sometimes to say to them, look, you know what? We're not ready for this. Let's this relationship is too new. This is not the opportunity to show this new customer Comport's best. Now, if you have a customer that's been a customer with Comport for 10 years and they ask you for some help with something and they trust you, you can say, look, this isn't like one of our top 2 or 3 technologies, but we've got people who are really smart. We've got people who know your environment. So if you want to work with us, I'm confident we can get through this together and make it successful. You could have that type of transparent relationship, transparent conversation with those types of customers. But when you're having that first engagement with a new customer, sometimes you do have to look, at that self-scouting and say, no, this isn't the one to do this on. Let's sit back. Let's let this opportunity pass, and let's wait for the next one that's going to be a little better opportunity for us to really show what we can do.
Yeah. And your second point about social selling, I don't know, does Dana work for you, Dana Tarlow?
Oh, so she's technically on the East team, but I talk with Dana pretty regularly. In fact, talk about being kind of vulnerable. I last week I was having a conversation with Dana. I don't know if you'll include this in the podcast, but this is an interesting story. I told her last week, and she's been on the team a couple of years. I said, hey, just so you know, we're having this great conversation, telling her how great of a job she's doing. And I said, I thought you were a bad hire. I voted no on you.
Whoa.
And I told her that because, look, I love her. I love her attitude. I love her as a person. And I said, when you've been involved in the selling of what we do for so long, you get a little jaded, which is to say, if I'm going to bring someone on board, I want them to have done what we do in customers that we do.
Yeah.
And, she had a very successful career in selling radio advertising, and then another successful career in selling staffing, essentially. So she had done what we've done. And ultimately, what I was reminded of through that conversation and through some of her early success is that it just comes down to relationships. If you have relationships with people who want to find a way to work with you, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
That's ultimately, that was part of our conversation. So yeah.
And I'll tell you, she is the kind of person I would want to work with. I can tell, I know she was a radio personality and she was new to technology when she started, but she's just good, caring people.
Yes. Absolutely.
Really, that's really what it boils down to. So,
yep.
I know you guys are hiring. Why would somebody want to come to work for Comport?
I would like to think that, and then this is a little bit grandiose, that that when people come and work on our team, that they are going to be able to be the best version of themselves. I want to be able to remove obstacles. I want to be able to help them create as much time to sell as possible. We're not perfect. We're growing. We're implementing new systems. There's people on our team who will listen to this and say, are you kidding me? I have to spend a lot of time on X, Y, and Z that I shouldn't have to. And they're right. But we're trying, and that's our intent. Our intent is to arm the people that we have to sell what we do and to be able to put as much energy as possible into that motion.
Yes, awesome. And forgive me for not remembering the actual award, but I saw Michael Wenzel, your president, won an award recently. And I know it had something to do with culture, right?
Yeah, well, it was so he's part of Vistage, a Vistage group, which is executive leadership and ownership group in the Northeast. And he was a kind of a leader of the year award as part of his group. And he's great. He's, in terms of our executive leadership, you mentioned Jack and Mike, and as a team, they are just phenomenal. They want everyone to have fun. They want everyone to be successful. They complement one another very, very well from an attitude and a skill set perspective. And then my peers kind of on the leadership team as well. It's just a very, very strong team that just pulling for the success of the whole company.
Yeah. Hey, I see it. I see socially how well you guys represent the company. Mm-hmm. It is something special. I came from a culture like that, years ago, and there's nothing better than the feeling of going to work when you love everybody around you.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I often describe Jack and Mike as the type of people for whom you want to be successful. Like, I want to be successful for those guys.
Yes. That is awesome. All right. So what's the result of good culture?
Wins.
Yeah.
We at a previous company, we used to talk about, employees are first and culture's first. And guess what? It's not. Staying in business is first. We have to win. Because guess what? If we don't win and we don't make money, there's no business to have a culture. So, as much as, it's about, if the result of culture is fun company parties and happy hours and cool events with OEMs, and that's it, that's not going to last very long.
Right.
Reps make money through selling. The company grows through making profits. And, we are in a coin operated business. So I think, as I said, culture is a outcome of success and removing obstacles and success. So I don't think so to a certain extent, good culture is the result of success, not success being the result of good culture.
Damn, I love your sincerity and conviction. Really, really good, man. I can feel it.
Yeah. Good.
All right. Well, we're going to end on that high note. Great conversation. Loved it. Brought back a lot of good memories of my years as a sales VP. And so, David, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm sure.
Thank you.
I'm sure our combined audiences will love it too.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Bye all.
See ya.